The objective today is to write an expression using only positive exponents. Here's example number 1. In this expression, you have a quantity x to the negative 2, y to the third, z to the negative third. All of that is to the third power. What you do first is to simplify what's in the parentheses. Start with x to the negative second. Anytime you have a variable to the negative power, you're going to reverse that position and make the exponent positive. You see it there by itself as x to the negative second, but it becomes 1 over x to the positive second. So you just make a fraction bar and put it underneath and make it a positive exponent. On the top you have y to the third. It does not change because it's a positive exponent. And then you have z to the negative third. It will go to the bottom and become z to the positive third. And you still have the positive third power outside the parentheses. So a review of what we did so far is this went to the bottom, became positive, the exponent. This stayed where it's at because it has a positive exponent, and this one went to the bottom because it had a negative exponent, and it becomes positive on the bottom. Now you have to let the exponent act on each of these items inside. This 3 will act on all of them. So instead of y to the third, you're going to have y to the ninth on the top. You multiply the exponents from outside the parentheses to the inside. And the x to the second becomes x to the sixth. And z to the third becomes z to the ninth. This is your final answer. Example number 2. Same type of problem. You have the quantity to the fourth power of x to the negative sixth, y to the second, and z to the third. So the x to the negative sixth goes to the bottom and becomes x to the positive sixth. Y to the second and z to the third stay on top. And now you have to let that exponent of 4 react to all of those inside. So it would be y to the 8th, z to the 12th, over x to the 24th. Alright, on this problem, we have the negative quantity of x to the negative 2, y to the third, z to the negative fourth. So inside the parentheses, you're going to need to make this x squared on the bottom and z to the fourth on the bottom, and then y to the third stays on the top. But now you have a negative 2 that you have to multiply against all of those exponents. So it turns out to be y to the negative sixth over x to the negative fourth and z to the negative eighth, but you're not finished there. Because anytime you have negative exponents, you have to simplify. So that y to the sixth goes to the bottom, becomes positive, and then the bottom goes to the top and becomes positive. This would be your final answer. For the solution here, you have to simplify inside first. You'll have 1 over x to the third, y to the third, z to the second, and then distribute the exponent outside to the inside and get, actually we don't need this anymore. I can't erase that, it's just a typo I made. But the parentheses are gone, and you have 1 over x to the 12th, y to the 12th, z to the 8th. Example number 3, you have that quantity inside, so simplify that first and leave everything else alone. You have x to the negative third on the top, so that goes to the bottom and becomes positive. You have y to the second on the top, it will stay there. On the bottom, you have a to the negative second. That goes to the top, and the exponent becomes positive. And then you have b to the sixth. It stays on the bottom because it was positive. Alright, so now you have to let the negative 4 exponent act upon everything else. So you'll have y to the negative 8th, a to the negative 8th, and then on the bottom, x to the negative 12th, and b to the negative 24th. Now you have to simplify by switching your negative exponents and also putting things in alphabetical order. So the top goes to the bottom. It would be a to the 8th, and then y to the 8th on the bottom, and then the bottom goes to the top. You'll have b to the 24th, and then x to the 12th. Example 4, there's your quantity, and it's to the negative 3rd power, so inside you want to simplify what you can first. X to the negative 3rd on top is x to the 3rd on the bottom. Y to the 7th stays on top, a to the 3rd stays on the bottom, b to the negative 3rd goes from the bottom up to the top, becomes positive. And then from there you have to distribute the negative 3rd exponent to the inside and get y to the negative 21st, b to the negative 9th, x to the negative 9th, and a to the negative 9th. Last thing to do is to simplify and put them in alphabetical order. The top goes to the bottom, b to the 9th, y to the 21st, and the bottom goes to the top, a to the 9th, x to the 9th. For the practice problem, we have to simplify inside first. And we're going to have x to the 3rd on top, but y to the 2nd goes to the bottom. A to the 3rd stays on the bottom, but we'll have b to the 4th on top. Simplify by distributing the negative exponent to get x to the negative 6th, b to the negative 8th, over y to the negative 4th, a to the negative 6th. And then you have to flip it. So we will have a to the 6th, y to the 4th on top, and b to the 8th, x to the 6th on the bottom.